Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really personal account. It's from someone we're calling the learner. And it details a pretty significant childhood experience, something that happened at their grandparents' house and, well, the impact it had.
Yeah, we have this written recollection from the learner. It really focuses on what they perceived, this vivid moment, and how they connected it to their grandfather passing away shortly after.
Right.
So our mission really is to explore the memory itself, the feelings, the connections they made, and maybe what it suggests about family, memory, even mortality.
Okay, let's get into it then. The learner starts by describing the grandparents' place. It sounds like a small house. 3 steps up to the front door, you go right into the living room. Then there's a hallway off to the right.
Gotcha. And off that hallway.
3 doors. Grandparents' room was on the left, then a restroom, and the family room straight ahead. And the kitchen was just beyond that hallway to the left, back door further on. And interestingly, the uncle's room was left of the back door, had its own bathroom.
Oh, right.
And some kind of peculiar closet in there. It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You know, those little details, they really ground the memory. So then they talk about the visit itself.
Yeah, the family was there. They were listening to music, downloaded onto a PS3, apparently, in the living room.
Right. And the learner mentions they were spinning around.
Spinning. And they also note, for context, that they have ADHD and level 1 autism.
Okay, that's interesting context. Sensory details like spinning often get locked into memory, you know?
Definitely. And then things take a turn, a really striking moment. The learner stops spinning and sees what they perceive as the Grim Reaper going into the grandparents' bedroom door, then through the wall and vanishing outside the window. They even mention thinking maybe it was a dream.
That's quite an image, especially for a child. It's fascinating how abstract ideas like, well, death can get personified like that.
Yeah.
Like the mind trying to grasp something huge and maybe scary.
Yeah.
And the fact they questioned if it was real, that dreamlike quality, that's also very telling about processing something unusual.
Makes sense. And the story continues, quite sadly. Just a couple of days later, February 4th, 2018, their grandfather passed away. Heart attack.
Oh, wow. So close in time.
Exactly. But the learner adds another layer. They mentioned the grandfather had actually been ill for about a week before that.
Okay.
But, he was still playing hide and seek with them and their siblings, so there's this illness, but also this interaction still happening.
Right. So you have this vision, this perception of the Reaper, and then the reality of his illness and passing just days later. It really highlights how we, especially kids, can kind of weave together the symbolic and the real when dealing with something like loss.
Yeah, trying to make sense of it.
Exactly. It's maybe a way to process that impending grief, that difficult truth.
It's very moving. And the impact clearly lasts. The learner mentions that even now, the family sometimes hears sounds at home alone. Sounds the grandfather used to make. And it gives them a feeling like he's still watching over them.
That's really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
How those little sensory things, sounds, smells, keep people present for us. It's a common way we experience that continuing bond.
They also mentioned it was a hard year. Generally, a friend passed away in a fire, too.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that just adds another layer of confronting loss and, well, life's fragility during that period.
Yeah. So the big takeaway for the learner from all this, the reflection they share, is really about spending time with family, cherishing it, because life is just so unpredictable.
Absolutely. And that's what's so compelling, isn't it? How this incredibly personal, maybe even inexplicable childhood moment led directly to this really profound practical life lesson. It shows how our unique experiences, even the strange or confusing ones, really shape our values and how we see the world.
So, to recap, we've explored this vivid, almost premonition-like memory from childhood, the grief that followed, but also this ongoing sense of connection and remembrance for a loved one, and ultimately this really important insight about family.
Right. Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. Think about your own life for a moment.
Yeah.
How do your personal interpretations of events, maybe things that felt strange or deeply emotional or hard to explain, how do those shape your understanding of life, of loss, of the connections you have with family?
Yeah, how do those unique experiences weave into your own personal story and the things you hold important? Something to reflect on.